How do you become a global brand ambassador?
Well, I was working with my dad, and he's a toxic guy. My
Therapy. So, welcome to Bar Talks. As me and you sit here with our wonderful steel golden rings like a bunch of Masons and Illuminati.
Oh yeah.
You look so happy. Look at you. You
That's
haven't been
it.
on the road for 10 days.
Nah, almost.
All right. So who the fuck are you?
Well, I'm Mihails Minckovskis, and I'm a global brand ambassador of Onis. It's the Lirdam Crystal glass factory, and additionally, I'm a global brand ambassador of a cereal company as well.
Perfect. We are right now in the Lirdam Crystal Glass Factory here in Lirdam, Netherlands. We're here for Glassology. There you go. We are very important with our rings. And we were judging the semi-final of the Glassology competition.
Yes.
Now, how long have you been a global brand ambassador?
Well, in total, I'm a global brand ambassador since 2015.
So it's now 8 years.
Yes.
How do you become a global brand ambassador?
I was an ambassador of 3 countries, both called Baltics.
Okay.
And yeah, I was doing that for 2 years, slightly, and then I was headhunted to become a global brand ambassador.
And what the fuck does that mean to be a brand ambassador?
There's 2 roles actually are inside of the portfolio. There's a trade ambassador, and you are making joke of those guys, and there's brand ambassadors who are a different division actually. And
what's the difference? There's a trade ambassador, there's a brand ambassador.
Yes.
What is the difference?
Well, the trade ambassador is the guy who is linked to the sales of volumes or all those marketing quotas. That's links to faces on the shelves. They have this kind of tangible thing to be measured. And this is more for the Eastern European countries because they heard somewhere about the brand ambassador, but they don't know how to control them in terms of giving them the salary. And they invented this kind of trade ambassador stuff, where you start to be doing measuring on volumes, on faces, on the parties you made with the events.
Okay, so trade ambassador, you're KPI driven in a particular area, volume driven.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And that's usually, you said like it was more Eastern European focus.
Kind of stuff, yeah, I think.
Sure, so we'll take that. What's a brand ambassador?
Well, this is more about the guy who is, the best stuff that you have been stated, this is like a Google translator between marketers and the real life, because this, like, you are doing this translation from what's happening in the field and going back to the office to say what it is. And well, probably you're the punchback for the guys who know the brand but doesn't know who is literally the face. And then this is the way how you're trying to communicate through the brand perspectives.
Okay, how did you go from operations in bars to day walker?
Well, I finished my university degree in hospitality management.
Oh shit.
And yeah, sorry. And at that time I was like, okay, I probably need to do something more, just a bartender stuff. Luckily, in our country at that time was the huge crisis, financial crisis, 2008. And that's a good time when all the bars are closed, and then you start to be seeking for a job. And then through all the 6 of the job, I finished to be in a distribution company building the alcohol portfolio because I have a background of the hospitality degrees plus working behind the bar.
So that gave you a little...
Yes, lift.
Here's a question though. Were you seeking to leave operations? Or was it just a consequence of the...
This is life flow, I would say.
Right. Okay, so it just happened.
Yeah, somebody called me and just, we want to have you interview because somewhere around my CV was floating and they saw me as the potential guy who can create the stuff.
But you wanted to leave operations. You never saw yourself owning a bar or becoming a GM of a hotel.
Well, I was working with my dad, and he's a toxic guy. And my
therapy.
My dad was the bar owner at that time, and I was bar backing him, and then we were working together. And then was a time when I was like, okay, I need to change something just to rest.
Fair enough.
Yes, and then at that time I never became back to the bar as the bartender.
Would you ever go back?
No.
Bartenders, when a bartender becomes a brand ambassador,
yeah,
after a certain period of time, the bartenders start to look down at that person. Have you encountered that?
All the time, man.
Oh,
Whenever
yeah.
you do the guest shifts, you are all the time like, yeah, we see how you work. And I kind of know this stuff, and when I'm at home, I'm trying to get my skills. And I'm doing the caterings with a lot of people just to keep the skills on a level, because all the time you're guest shifting, the bartenders are challenging you just by not taking their menu orders for an hour, and you're working only on your menu, and nobody helps you in that way. And well, this is as well, like, we see how the guy is fat fuck, and then could not handle the stuff. But then if you know, you know, and you just, if you can handle, then you gain the respect. This is the way how I was doing this.
So there's definitely a little bit of a battle there, sort of.
Yeah.
So now we're going into the new era, right? So last year you were hired for Glassology.
Yeah.
So it seems
For
like
Onis.
Sorry, for Onis Glass. Onis.
Honest.
This comp, it's not normal. It's not the normal. So it's a new wave. It's a rebirth of
Yeah.
Glassology. It's once every 2 years. Tell me about the process.
Well, the reason why it's every 2 years, to produce the glass, it takes you for 3 months till 1.5 years. It depends on the complexity of some of the design was doing for 2 years, because it was overwhelming and the design was super hard. But in general, this is the reason why we have this, like 1 year in a competition to produce the winning design. The whole competition is about the design your glass, and this is something that we ask actually, and this is a competition with almost no rules. The only rule is like we're asking for you to participate with your design. It should be a glass out of the glass. That's it, you're in.
What happens when you win Glassology?
When you win the Glassology, first of all, your design will be produced. Okay. Literally in 1 year time, you will have your glass in a glass produced and sold globally. Mm-hmm. It means that for me, this is fucking awesome, because you can get your glass in your hands, and it's like, this is my glass.
What's it like being a glass ambassador?
Well, this year, as the third edition has jumped in and a full focus on the competition actually, and for me it's good because I was the second edition participant, and I was inside of competition, and I took the second place, and I could share my emotions and the way how I see that was done in that way, and to encourage people to jump into the third edition. As the Onis glass producer, brand ambassador, I see it as the knowledge that I can share with the guys who doesn't know how glass is produced, because probably you don't know as well.
Absolutely not.
And this is something interesting because none of the other brand ambassadors can give you this information. And I see, well, I did a questionnaire in the Facebook community that we have, how they see the presentation of the brand ambassador of a glass company and what questions you would like to cover. And I received 11 questions. In general, there was more, but the one who was liked. And I built my presentation based on this question. And this is the way, and there was no about the liquids, no about the cocktails. There was only, well, how the glass is produced, what is the materials, what is the difference. A lot of technical details, but nobody knows. And probably none of the glass producer are sharing.
Uh-huh.
And this is, I see, a potential of my way of doing my presentation and knowledge sharing as the glass brand ambassador globally, to share who we are as the glass producer, what is inside, because literally to produce this glass, it's taken 13 ingredients, a mixture, kind of a cocktail, inside of a furnace. Then it brings you liquid glass, and then blah, 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 yada, yada, and all the things. And I would love to tell this story to my audience who is demanding this knowledge.
So the transition from one brand to another is quite interesting. I think it's very unique. I don't think I've seen somebody hold 2 global brand ambassador positions in the world. So how the fuck do you manage that?
This is kind of understanding well, literally when I jump into the brand, I'm trying to get the identity of the brand. And whenever I'm jumping into the brand, I'm implementing myself a uniform. Well, because the visual should be different. Whenever you see me on a Zero brand, I will be having a different uniform, just identify myself that now I am a Zero brand ambassador. Kind of changing the outfit. I am still Misha, same conversation, but like at least visually, you will see that this is like a different brand that I'm working for.
Okay.
And this helps me stay kind of healthy-minded on the way I'm working, because it's kind of, the uniform still helps you to stay fit in the way you're working and for you're working and why you're working here.
Do you see yourself being a brand ambassador for the rest of your life?
No, well, definitely not, because, well, for me, I think it's ridiculous when you see like guys in 50 age and something like that doing brand ambassador stuff. Well, if he's still young-minded, maybe yes, but it's nearly impossible. Not implementing new stuff. But in my case, I would like to finish near 5-7 years and do something dedicated to that, maybe to kind of educational programs, but to give the opportunity for the younger one, or teaching you how to do that. But
And what's the next logical step for brand ambassadors?
Well, as you said, you do your own brand or you do consultancy stuff, because you was doing a lot of brand development things.
Before we do that, is there any advice you can give to bartenders who want to become brand ambassadors?
Well, you are 24/7 on the road with the people, and you could not be exhausted, because you are the face, and your face should be pretty cool, neat, and fresh all the time. And if you fucked, it means the brand is fucked, and this is a high responsibility level on your shoulders, because you need to know all the rules and respect them. Otherwise, the brand you are representing, whenever you do wrong, like Misha, the brand will suffer.
Right. Facts. So, to wrap it up, join Glassology, be authentic,
Yeah.
have 72 hours in a day,
Stay yourself.
and travel 124 days every year. The life of a double global brand ambassador,
Yeah.
waiting to see, and a local, and a consultant.
And buy eye patch, yeah?
You're like